name is Ido, and I want to present you Maurizio, who was kind enough to come to Israel. We're both, I'm from Microsoft, he's from GitHub. As you may know, we're a bit affiliated, and what we wanted to present to you today is the developer cloud that we've been, Satya Nadella has been obsessed with developers, so we built a cloud for developers. And when we say cloud for developers, what we start with is Visual Studio. You start coding with Visual Studio, the #1 most popular coding product in the world. You continue to draw 80 to 90% of your code from open source using GitHub. But as you know, we've made some advancements with GitHub Enterprise and OpenAI. We'll see that in a second. And you finish with Azure. So really what Maurizio is going to show you in a minute is all three of these working in concert. And this is now known as the most frictionless code-to-cloud experience on the planet. So that's what we're going to see. And speaking of GitHub, where Maurizio is coming from, obviously the most popular platform. But look here, 330 million plus code repositories. What happens when you combine them with OpenAI like we did? So when you apply OpenAI, you've all seen ChatGPT, but what happens when you put it on code and you let it learn? You get a series of products. For example, like GitHub Copilot that helps you code. If some of you haven't tried, you're welcome to go ahead and do it. Advanced Security, CodeQL, which scans for your code vulnerabilities and makes sure that no bugs make it to the main thread. Code Spaces, which just, I think Maurizio will show us in a second, just enhances your productivity. You get a lot of things done in one click. We're used to have 15 steps to do that. GitHub Actions around the DevOps space. And what I wanted to know, what I wanted you to know is that if any of you are renewing your Visual Studio code, you get GitHub Enterprise included in it. So enough with the slides. Let's give it to Maurizio for a quick demo. Give it up for Maurizio, y'all. Woohoo!
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in Tel Aviv. It's a great community that we have here. We're driving so much disruption tech, and that's amazing. I really want to show you something hands-on, so no more talking about that. So what I have here, I have a repository in GitHub. That's where a lot of things are happening. So we have an actions pipeline that's deploying this code on Azure, straight on Azure. We have a GitHub Advanced Security that's telling me how much vulnerabilities I have in my code. At the moment of the pull request, I'm already aware of how many vulnerabilities I have, how can I fix those. I know I also have a dependable that's telling me what's the vulnerabilities on my on the dependency that I use. Everything integrated with GitHub, the place that you are working every day, the place that you love to be. And what is most interesting here as well is that I have a lot of actions that are doing a lot of things for me. So if I take a look at my workflows here, I see here that I can build, test, and publish my code. So I have this application, which is basically a bookstore that's already deployed on Azure. So if I click here on my environments, I take a look on the prod environment and view deployment. It's a very, very simple application. It's basically just showing up some bookstore, some books in this bookstore. Add to cart's not working. A lot of things are not there yet, but it's going to serve the purpose of this demonstration. And what I want to show you, I want to show actually how you would go ahead and develop a feature from scratch. So we are going to do that together. We're going to see the advanced security running. We're going to see how Copilot can help you as well. So let's take a look at how we will do that. So where it starts, where development starts. Development starts with thinking about what's the future. We have some requirements. We have some customer that has some needs, and we have to go after that. So let's say a product owner came with this requirement that we actually need a recommendation systems application. So we need actually to add some stars here in our application. How will we go and do that? So let's put my hat, let's put like my developer hat here and think how I'm going to start to work in this project. I just joined this company, we're developing this product. How I do that? So the first thing is I'm going to go through the README and I'm going to take a look in the README how I can actually run this application. How can I start working on it? The README looks a bit complicated. I have to install Maven, JDK, etc. A lot of tools. How can I simplify that? I can open a code space. So a code space basically is going to give to me a development environment out of the bat. So if I come here with a code space that I have already open, I have the full development environment as I would be in my local machine, but it's on the cloud. It's an Azure VNet deploy environment where I have all these tools that are defined in a container image in my repository, and everything is ready for me to start developing out of the bat. Everything that I will do in a development environment that would be like in my local machine, I can do here on the cloud. So let's say I want to develop this feature. I'm going to save us some time. I'm going actually to run a script that's going to apply this feature on my code. It should be, thank you. And the feature is going to be already applied, and it's going to create for me like a branch for me to do that. So all the things that I would normally do in code are already done for me. So what I need if I want to add a rating feature, I need to change my model. I need to add a rating field in my model. I need actually to change the database implementation, because now I have actually to add a new field there. I also have to change the data set that I'm using to add some rating here as well. But let's say actually I would like to do some development of my own. So let's take a look at this book utils class. And let's think I want to expand a bit this test data. And I want to add a new book. So let's say I want to add a book. Let's say add an Israeli book or a book in Hebrew, a book in Hebrew. And actually, Copilot is going to suggest me a book that, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that, but you probably understand that. So it's going to give me, like, based on the context, a lot of test data that you can actually use, and not necessarily just in English. You could use different natural language to provide that code. Let's say I want to add another feature. Let's say I want to expand this data and add a class that add a method. Now maybe I can help with your help. Add a method that get a book by ID, for example, or actually get a book by rating. So Copilot is going to be able to suggest to me and code for me and help me to develop code faster. So repetitive code that you are used to do in the daily basis is going to be much easier, much faster to do. Thanks, Sido. Awesome. So let's go ahead and commit to this code, and let's see what else happens with GitHub. So I'm going to go ahead. And push these changes, commit these changes. I just stage that, add something. Let's just commit that. And once I commit, I publish this branch and I create a pull request. What I didn't tell you yet, and I'm going to show you, is that a lot of actions are going to run because they're going to be triggered once I do that. And we're going to take a look at that together. So what's happening when I build this code? What's happening is, like, I'm going actually first to build the code. I'm going to test that. I'm going to publish that. I'm going to build a container image, and I'm going to publish that to GitHub container. We are going to scan that image to see if there's any vulnerabilities on the image that I built. In parallel with that, we're going to run advanced security on the code, static analysis. Are there any vulnerabilities that were introduced now or not? Are there any code changes that are impacting my unit testing? How is my code coverage? We're going to do that. And that's CI/CD, and actions can help with that. What goes beyond CI/CD is automations. Imagine at the moment of the pull request, you're able to add a label to your pull request, and it deploys environment in a development environment in Azure, where you can actually see in real life, in real time, how your code has changed. That's super useful for testers, because you open a pull request, you want to review that, but you're not sure how the code changed. So imagine you are able to do that. So actions can help you to go beyond CI/CD and really go into automations. So let me close that and go back to here to my repository. And I created the pull request. And when I created this pull request, a lot of different automations start running. So here I see my code coverage is already done. And here I see that code scanning with CodeQL is started running. So CodeQL actually came through a company that Microsoft acquired 3 years ago called SAML. And SAML was standing out in this space because they were able to transform the code in data and then query this code as it were data. So imagine using like SQL queries for looking for vulnerabilities in your code base. That's pretty impressive. And the most interesting thing is that with advanced security, everything's integrated with your software development cycle at GitHub. So you have like everything in the platform. You don't need to move to another platform. Everything's here at GitHub. So once this pull request is done, and I have added all has run, I can go ahead and merge this pull request. Once I merge this pull request, and I'm going just to go ahead and merge that, it's going to deploy it straight away to Azure. But let's say I wanted to build like, I want to add a label and actually deploy a test environment for that environment on Azure. I could do that by adding a label like deploy to test. And this label would actually show to me what's exactly the result of what the feature is doing at the moment of the pull request. So that's it. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you soon in our Microsoft and GitHub booth.